Hey, welcome back to the Blue Collar Off-Road Podcast, episode 91. I'm Graham. I'm here with Luke, Richie, and Cody. And our guest for today is, he really likes waffles a ton. Um, Wins them all the time. I don't know how many he's
Aunt
won.
Jemima?
Yeah, Aunt Jemima. We have Aunt Jemima on. Um,
Let's go.
so Aunt Jemima's actually won Mike Craig's old buggy, like helmets. I don't know. I think he's rigging the waffle system.
He has to. He has to be.
Yeah, but
We say that, but then we also have Sean who wins a raffle every single time he goes to an event.
waffle.
And then
Oh no, those are raffles, I guess.
those are
Yeah,
raffles.
yeah.
Those are
Never
raffles.
mind.
And then you have Curtis who won a waffle for stickies. But then again, I think Aunt Jemima here, whenever he feels the need to introduce himself, I think
Well, I
he's
mean, that's
better.
my
He got
job. I just,
stickies.
in typical fashion, we haven't introduced the guest yet, but it's only been a minute, so I think we're good.
We should do an episode where we just do not introduce the guest and we just talk, and then all of a sudden, like 20 minutes in, we're like, "Oh, hey, by the way," I think that'd be a funny one.
Yeah, that would be funny. Anyways, if you haven't guessed and you don't live in New England or you live under a rock, we got JB on, who is a friend of all of ours, really, and a member of the club, of the Backyard Built Club, who's, I don't know, how would you describe yourself in off-roading as far as your journey into the hobby, JB? I feel like you're not super new, but you're definitely not. I don't know.
OG.
Not what do you mean? Oh no, I just mean
I was finishing your sentence of he definitely is not OG.
So I've been into it kind of in the background since I've been friends with Sean for a good number of years. And I was helping him fix his Papa Smurf originally in my garage before I really got into it. And then, 3 years ago, I finally got my first XJ. And I started small and I grew pretty quick. So probably 3 years I've been into it.
yeah. I remember you
Uh,
had the silver one, and then
So I don't think any of you guys saw me when I had my red Jeep because I was 31 on short arms, and I don't think I ever wheeled with the club when I had that Jeep. I think I was first out with the club with the silver Jeep. I don't believe the red one ever came out with the club, so I was really with the silver one, the 6.5 inch lift with 35s on it.
did the silver one ever go out with the club either? I feel like if it did, it wasn't often. I'm trying to
I
remember.
think it only went out once or twice with the club, but
Yeah,
I was
Well,
more 508 when I first got into it.
that's
gotcha.
true. That's true, actually, because I was gonna say you guys did run 508 a decent bit before I even really met you guys. Because the first time I ever met you was at Miguel's shop, and you were just getting out of the silver Jeep and started getting into the green Jeep. And I forget where Miguel was at in that whole process. I think they had just picked up Pepto or something.
So I didn't get the green Jeep until Miguel bought his buggy.
Yeah, well, because the green Jeep was Miguel's, right?
Correct.
And you bought
That
it
was
off
his
of him.
baby. I traded him my silver one for that.
Gotcha. And then obviously
I
you
bought
had
the
all.
axles.
Yeah,
I bought the Super 30 and the 88 that were under Pepto from him and put those under the green Jeep where he took his axles that were under the green Jeep and put them under Pepto.
Pepto has.
The green Jeep's old axles.
And were those the ones that he had Trust and done all that work too? I know they put full hydro on that thing now, but I don't remember. Um,
Yes.
what was
Those are
on?
the ones that
Okay,
he,
okay. So they're the built axles that were in that thing.
yes. Those are now under Pepto with his fancy drive shaft or whatever. His Tom Woods drive shaft or whatever.
Oh, those are good. Like, I mean, I'm more of an Adams drive shaft guy myself, but they're
Oh,
both
okay,
the
switching
same.
it up now.
Oh no,
Wow.
I've always bought from Adams. No rhyme or reason for it. They're both great companies. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. They've got great shipping. I'll put it that way. They not gonna say they messed up my order. I don't think they did. I think it was partially my fault, partially just measurements that weren't quite right, but it got messed up a few times and, customer service on their part was great. So, I'll stick with Adams. So yeah, Pepto got those the 30 and 8 1/4 or whatever the
88
hell it is.
out of the green
8
Jeep.
Okay. And do they still need the transmission for that? I still have that for them. I gotta get that to them. It's got some water in it, so I don't know how great it is, but
It'll be
yeah,
fine.
just throw some transmission fluid in it maybe and call it good.
Before.
So there is talks of Pepto not coming to Rausch.
What?
Yes.
Why?
Why? What the fuck?
There are talks of it. Nothing's confirmed.
I'm texting
Yeah, but
her out right now. She better get.
Because of the tranny.
Yeah.
If we
I
can get
have a
the
tranny.
fixed,
I will give it to him this weekend.
I don't think it's that. I think it's just time to get it pulled out.
Oh, it takes 2 seconds. So you had the green Jeep for a while.
I had built a 30 with chromoly's and trusted it and everything else and put that under the green Jeep. And I had wheeled that up until just about a year ago, and then it went back under the knife, and I started my 1-ton swap.
Yep, I remember that because I did part of it.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, was Graham doing the 1-ton swap,
I
or
didn't
was
swap them. I built the
Graham
axles.
for it? Okay.
Graham welded everything on and geared them.
Okay, gotcha.
Were you running radius arms or a 3-link or what on that Jeep? Because I remember seeing it posted and the price on it's pretty fucking killer.
So it was radius arm when it was on the Dana 30 and the 88. It is now 3-linked in the front, and it's still leaf springed in the rear,
Which
yeah,
is
well,
fine.
that's to be expected.
which is fine. I have yet to wheel it.
Yeah, you should wheel it.
You should
'Cause,
definitely wheel it.
You gotta
Well-
test out my gear sets, right?
Well, why haven't you
those are
wheeled it?
Because he.
So
Oh.
up
yeah.
until last week, I've had issues with it running. It's been super hot out. I don't know why,
Oh,
but for like 3 weeks now, it hasn't wanted to run. It wouldn't start for a week, and then it hasn't wanted to run. But up until the other day when I tried to start it, now she's runs like a top and doesn't skip a beat. The only thing I changed when I did the whole swap is I took the factory tank out and put a fuel cell in.
Now, have you checked the actual fuel cell to see if it did a Luke special and broke in half?
No, because I have an external pump.
So is the pump aerated? Like, did you make sure to bleed it so that way there was no air bubbles in it?
That's not
It's
how
all
that
bled out now because now it runs without a hiccup.
So maybe there's a small leak in your fuel system, and now from over time, the fuel pressure has slowly pushed the air out, and now it's good to go.
I feel like we
Hopefully.
always come back to these fucking fuel pump conversations. This is like probably the 10th one we've had. It's always fucking fuel pumps. Just get the Walboro whatever and call it a day.
Yeah.
On that note, though, I was talking to Tony with the KJ, and that was the issue on that LS Jeep.
Oh, really?
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
He sent me a message that they swapped it out for a Walbro off of a Mustang, and the thing has ran nonstop without skipping a beat.
That's sick.
That's hysterical.
Look
Yeah.
at we fix things.
Every once in a while. So, what else happened that, kind of got in the way of this Jeep getting wheeling? Because I'm sure that we would have figured out that it had a fuel pump problem beforehand, because it's been together for like a couple months now, right?
It's been together fully probably for probably since April. Because I was
Talking
pushing to get it together before our first trip, which would have been Brookridge, and I was trying to get it so I could run both of them there, but I ran into problems lining up the front axle when I went to go put it in.
Problems lining it up. What do you mean? Like the brackets weren't right, or?
Well, the top bracket, the upper control arm bracket that came with that truss, and then the upper control arm that came with the kit, the BK Fabs kit, were two different mounts, two different mounting points, or styles, I should say.
Oh, two different sizes? Or
No,
was
one had the joint on mounted to the axle, and the other one had the joint mounted to the link.
Oh, gotcha. So it was was it trying to use like the factory style upper?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's
Yeah.
okay.
So I changed that, and I made it so it would accept the factory style upper where it sits.
Makes sense in a way. So with the BK kit in there, then that means that you don't have any of that the issues that we have when we run them on the passenger side, right? It's on the driver's side if you're
Oh no,
using the
he's running
factory.
passenger.
He is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I'm passenger all the way, and shockingly, everything lined up. I didn't have to move my exhaust. Everything lined right up.
Yeah, usually that it's close, but you can make it work. I think mine was the same way. I got it all tucked in there.
Because if I had ran driver's side, my control arm would have went through my oil pan the first time I
Okay.
flushed it out. Because the way we built the truss goes over the axle and it's up a
Yeah,
little
because
higher.
it's that weird like special. It's not the It's an Artec truss, right? But it's not the typical 3/8 plate bent to the shape of the top, and then you put the side pieces in. It's this single piece truss for the long. It's single piece bracket for the long side, and then some bracketry for the passenger side, and then coil buckets obviously sorry, other way around. Driver side is the short side, obviously. There's like a little bracket for that side, and then a big long one, and it all welds to the cast, which is great and all, but there was no connection point, and then
Oh, that's goofy.
yeah, and you've got that.
Oh, that's the isn't that the Apex truss or whatever they call it?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, it's a cool truss, but it was kind of funky to get that to work with the
Full hydro mount.
yeah, the full hydro mount was all funky. That that upper piece, the cover protector, there was no way for that piece to attach, and I wanted to use it, so we built basically a bridge that covered the top of the housing and connected the two lower, the two pieces of the truss that weren't connected, that were just welded to the cast, and then mounted all the bracketry for the that protector part over the top. But
That's interesting.
yeah, we
So
made
that
it
way I
work.
can't. So that way I can't push the hydro mount into itself
Yes.
or bend it up, I guess.
Well, ideally, it helps when you drop 3 feet onto a rock, and it keeps it from bending into a pretzel. We've seen that happen at Field and Forest. I forget who it was, but it was, I think it was one of the Sims. I think it was. I don't know if it was. I think it was their Wrangler buggy. I think it got messed up. I don't remember, but good times. So now when I see those hydro mounts, I always like, if they don't have that top plate on, I judge hard, right? Because it's important. It keeps it keeps the deflection from happening. Otherwise, you're fucked. Or keeps it from bending. Deflection's not the right word there. If it deflected, you'd have no problem.
Yeah. Even though the illustrious other buggy that I've yet to talk about doesn't have it.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I guess you don't need it as long as you're not hitting it perfectly right. But if it has it, you may as well put it on. That's my thinking.
To go back, in the midst of me ordering everything for the Cherokee and starting to build my axles and strip my axles, I entered into the waffle for Wheeling for Warriors for what is known as Charlotte, which would be Mike Craig's old buggy, and ended up winning it on Christmas Eve after I had bought everything for the XJ, so I was pretty much tied to finishing the XJ.
Yeah, it sucks how that works out, right? You'd spend all this money on your rig, and then you just get one other one handed to you on a platter. Really sucks.
That is pretty hysterical, though. Like, like an outsider's perspective, you gave it to a buddy of yours to do all the work. Your buddy's, putting his fucking blood, sweat, and tears into it. Then you're like, hey man, by the way, I know this is crazy, but I don't need that shitbox for April. So take your time because I ended up just winning a buggy. So just, honestly, actually, I don't really give a fuck about that thing anymore. So do whatever you want. That sucks.
I don't think it went like that.
No, I think it was.
didn't.
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
So JB, before you get too far into your buggy, didn't you put a cage on your XJ too?
Yes, that was caged before it went to Rausch last year.
Okay.
So I kind of kept that quiet because I showed up to Vermont. I wasn't caged. I wasn't nothing. I kept it quiet. I put the cage on it in that month and a half time span between Vermont and Rausch, and I showed up to Rausch with a cage Jeep.
Now, didn't you use a prefabbed cage?
Yes, I used the welder D cage, and just to go back on either a podcast or two ago, the front fenders are not the front fenders that come from welder D. We made those, so that's why they look like shit, Cody.
Sorry, they're bad.
They work.
Hey, they're better than my. They're better than my tube fenders, So I guess I can't really.
Yeah,
have
you
much
don't wear
of
your
that.
tube fenders, Cody.
Fair enough, I ain't got
Where
me.
your one axles, Cody?
My what?
Your 1-ton axles.
They're sitting in the backyard collecting rust,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
they're gonna be fun to clean up later after you let them sit for 10 years.
Oh well, I'll figure it out when the day comes.
No, you
Honestly,
won't.
it really wasn't that bad because the axles that I got were sitting for a long time.
Oh, yeah, you say they weren't that bad. Should have seen me trying to take all the pieces off of them.
Why? Most of it was off.
Uh-huh. Tell that to the factory hubs that have probably not come off in 30 years.
That's fair.
Well, technically, if you want to go back to that, the axle that was under it actually was in a truck 2 weeks prior to me getting it, running and driving.
Oh, really?
So that's even worse.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem, is that it was New England rust. So they just seize on, where this is
I literally...
solid New Mexico on the border axles. So no rust.
You got New Mexico...
Let's
What?
sit in the field.
Yeah, wait, have I not explained that to you?
No.
You've
I don't
never
think you
explained
have.
how you get
A long
Oh.
time ago.
I got them off of an old Border Patrol truck. F-350.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, so I grabbed them from that. So they still have the factory weather seal coating or whatever on them.
Gotcha,
Oh,
so you're just
Cody,
letting
can
them
I
rot
ask
now.
you a question?
No, but I can answer your question.
Are you sure that you have a 60?
100% yes.
Okay.
It's an
Yeah.
05, right?
It's 05 plus,
It's
right?
05 plus. Yeah,
Gotcha,
it's 05.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
No,
Sorry,
go.
you're good.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say I appreciate you double checking with me, because that was back in the day where I just didn't really look. I was just like, ooh, 05 plus is for $200. Yoink. But yeah, I mean, not the end of the world.
I
They
made
were.
that mistake buying 1-ton axles, so
You know
Yeah.
who also did that? Richie and probably Graham.
I didn't make a mistake. I knew what I was buying.
That was me.
Same. I bought the 50 on purpose.
Oh, then
Like, I
who-
knew it was a 50.
Oh no! You had a gear set. No, what did you pick up? The truss. The truss you picked up was supposed to be for a 60, but it was for a 50. Richie?
No, other way around. It was supposed to be for a, what is it, 04 and down 60 or 50, but I ended up getting an 05 plus 60 truss.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I can see that not. I mean, it might work. You'd have to cut some shit, though, I bet. I don't remember the differences.
I have been told that I would have to do a lot of trimming to the truss to make it work on the 50. And so I decided to just go ahead and get a 05 plus 60 because that's what the truss is for.
That sounds like the perfect plan to me.
No, that sounds like a good excuse to me.
Plan, excuse, it's the same thing.
It's like, honey, I swear I don't need another axle. 2, yes. 1 for the front, 1 for the rear. 3, no, but hear me out, hear me out.
No, my dad's the one that I have to do that kind of explaining to.
Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong, Kish. When we went and we picked those up, they were like $150 for the pair. So even if you just got the rear and you sold the front, you're still...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was. I don't remember the exact price, but I know it was less than $200 that I bought the 50 and the 10.5 for.
That's not bad, even just for the 10.5 alone. Honestly.
Yeah. I was gonna pick up the spare. I found the axles originally. I was gonna pick them up, I think, because we were told it was a 60.
Yeah.
So I could just grab the shafts because it was like, fuck it, at that price I'll take the shafts and the wheel bearings out of it and then like sell the housing or hold on to the housing and use it for something else.
Did anybody else chuckle thinking that Luke just said he's just grabbing the shaft? Or is that just
Yeah.
Penis.
While we're still on the Dana 50 talk, I did obviously have yanked Sean's front axle apart. It is in fact a 50. Which I knew just by looking at it, but he wanted to confirm. So it is a 50. It's very sad, but it is what it is. He's already spending a shitload of money on that thing, so we're not... I have a 60 housing, but to actually build it would be...
That sounds like a next year project.
It would be... We'd have to do gears and other things. This 50 is already geared. It's already got... Actually, no, it has nothing on it, but just... keep the gear set in there, weld some brackets on it so it can work, and then he can find a 60 to throw in later and spend money on that if the 50 gives him problems. But we shall see.
You know,
he's also really conservative when it comes to driving.
Correct.
Most of the time.
Well, the Dana 300 is going to blow up before the 50, so...
Exactly. It's just a fuse at that point.
Especially if you let Luke drive.
No. Don't you know fuses aren't cool anymore, right? You haven't been following the beat not babied stuff? Fuses are for idiots, right? No more fuses, Cody.
Okay, so we're just hot wiring shit now. Is that the plan? Just solid wire it?
Yeah. Just weld it all together.
Solid. Okay.
No
Okay, cool.
Jesus. So on that note, I did pick up another set of mile markers, so I should have 4 mile markers with me when I go to Rausch. And I should be stocked up for good evening, too.
on hubs.
Yep.
And while we're still on the... Oh, sorry, go ahead. You're good.
Okay, I was just going to say, I still don't have any spare anything for my 05.
I've got the truck in the parking lot.
Oh,
dude.
perfect.
But you know, speaking about mile marker hubs, I was cleaning out my Jeep the other day, and I actually found a box of the old hubs that you and Graham left in my fucking yard out back.
Oh, are they the destroyed ones? Shall we have box of broken hubs?
From like 2 years ago.
Oh, that's funny. I remember that because we were like, well, if we put both broken hubs in the box and bring them to AutoZone, they'll give us a new box. I don't think they liked that very much.
No, they did it though.
Oh yeah, they. What did they say? They bitched about you, like not.
No,
having
they
any more
voided my
warranties.
warranty on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man.
Well, they said like this is your last one. You're fucked next time, pretty much.
Oh no, it was worse than that. It was this is your last one, and we'll give them to you at a 50% discount.
Oh wow, they really are done with you. Holy shit.
They're really, really done with me. Like, because what was it when I was? It wasn't like every trip or anything, but like at least once every 3 to 4 months, I would just break a hub, and it was what it was, and I would just, wait until I had 2, go down to the Terryville Advanced Auto, drop them off, And then there was like this kid that worked down there that was really cool, and he would sometimes be at the Torrington store, and he would always just pass me another one, and it was never an issue. But then like when they started looking at the history, they were like, "Oh, these are supposed to be a manufacturer warranty item, and we can't help you anymore. Goodbye."
Really?
Yeah, because
Oh boy.
I had done it like probably 4 times at that point in 2 years. So it was what it was. Fuses aren't cool, kids. Apparently I'm lame. Don't be like me.
Yeah,
But
we already knew
to
that.
get back on what I would say before is, if you're gonna give me shit for my axles sitting in the backyard, Caitlin also has a JK Data 30 and a JK 44 sitting in my backyard, so give her shit too. All right, it's not just
Oh,
me.
she actually got the axles, or are they just the housings?
No, they're full axles.
Well,
Oh, shit.
next time
Well,
she comes
no.
over, you can hand her the grinder and say, "There you go, have fun."
I lied actually. So the 30, the JK 30 is a full axle with the snap tube, but that's easy enough. We'll just fucking either get a new tube or sleeve it and weld it back together. The 44 doesn't have a gear set, but that's easy enough as well. So
Okay.
yeah.
It's a sidetrack podcast.
Yeah,
Well, speaking about axles, what axles does Charlotte have?
So she is 04 Dana 60 and Sterling 10.5.
Fuck yeah.
It's 3-link front and rear, RCVs, 40-inch stickies, and it's all caged out.
See, he wanted in a waffle because he's reading off of a list right now.
No, I'm not. I'm not even things. When I got it, it needed a new front drive shaft, and I actually did order an Adams drive shaft for it, and they were fantastic.
yeah, good
There
company.
you go.
I never.
Not sponsored, by
I-
the way.
Yeah, not sponsored.
That is why the XJ is sat, because I've been wheeling what is known as Charlotte.
How do you like wheeling the fucking buggy?
I absolutely love it. Definitely, it was a rough first run because it was like 40 degrees and raining out, and me and Graham got soaked. But at least the heat worked and we dried out. But it's done phenomenal. I've put it in places where I never knew that I could go with it, and I'm still very much learning it, as I found out in Vermont because we ran with Chris and a bunch of the guys that had ran with that buggy before. I still have a lot to learn about it.
All right, so
Oh, yeah.
just so you know, JB, Mike doesn't listen to this podcast to the best of my knowledge, so you can actually talk shit if you want to.
You can
When
talk
you-
shit anyways, but
Yeah, I mean, we might
you
as
should
well
come on the
force him into
podcast
talking shit.
and talk about the days of old with that thing. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, no, I think it's super fun.
And be-
That buggy and my Jeep are like, I mean, that thing's definitely more capable than my Jeep, but at your skill level, we're like right neck and neck. It's pretty funny. Like that entire time at Badlands was just a riot because, you'd go through something or those other guys would go through something and then I'd go through it or vice versa. And
You were sitting there watching a buggy with Richard, you just get messed up in it.
So when you got the buggy, what'd you have to fix on it? Did you end up having to spend money to get it going, or was it pretty much ready to go?
So it was pretty much ready to go. The front drive shaft was on its way out and needed to be replaced. Probably could have ran with it. I still have it as a backup. The only thing that absolutely had to be fixed was one of the hydro lines for the steering was leaking, and I have never seen a line leak how this was, because I'm sure, Graham, you're probably familiar with the lines that those things come with. They're like,
was it the PSC lines or was it like custom?
yeah, it's like that PSC lines that, like, it's got that soft coating on the outside.
Mhm.
It's not like rubber.
Yeah.
So it was literally just seeping through that, leaking.
Oh shit!
Like,
Thanks for reminding me.
I've never seen a line leak by like
Just seeping.
oozing out of it. There was no actual cut in it. It just oozed out of the sides of it. So those are the two issues. Well, there was one other issue that he said. He's like, it's got a brake line, a leaky brake line or a broken brake line. To this day, I still have not found that. So I don't know where that brake fluid came from that he supposedly found.
It healed. It self-healed. Rusted shut.
I have
Benefits of new
no idea where it was because I took it was one of the lines going to the rear that was zip tied to the control arm going back, and I never found a leak in it.
So are you still happy, even though you had to put all this time and effort into it? Are you still stoked that you won it, or do you feel that you...
No, I mean, I'm more than happy with it. It's definitely more capable than I'm willing to do with it. I'll figure it out. I mean, I just got to keep putting it in places and stop sitting in bad places and saying I should be on my side right now.
You know what we should have you do is go up that vertical climb at Rausch on the crawl course. Remember
Where you guys tried to put Miguel up on and then you put Curtis up on?
Yeah,
Curtis actually
that
didn't
one.
drive it. I drove it. And Colin did it.
Yes, intoxicated Colin.
Curtis refused to do it. He was like...
Miguel couldn't get up there because of his wheelbase, right?
It was his...
Ride height and wheelbase.
No, it wasn't his ride height. It was his belly. He had the that cross member on his belly for the front links hit or something, or the transmission or something. No, it was front lower links.
Potato, okay, potato.
No, but it's not belly.
Same thing.
It's the links. The lower links just aren't in a spot that would let it go up. But yeah, I guess if it was jacked to the moon, it would maybe make it up a little more. But
that was the day after I freaking got up. What was it, Trail 5, and Colin broke his...
Yeah.
And Sean broke his shit there too.
And Graham.
Graham.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
But I can't say that I didn't break my shit, but I got up the left side of that trail.
I'd rather have made it up and not broken, to be honest. That cascaded so much of my bullshit.
Good bullshit though, okay? It made your Jeep end up doing good things.
Not before it made it do horrible things in Harlan, but we talked about that way too much.
I forgot about that turn of events.
Yeah, I know. I like to bitch about that one. It's worthy of the bitching, though. So
worthy of the bitching. That's crazy. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, that was cool. It was funny too because you kind of just like went up after the chaos that was Colin going up and blowing his or he didn't even blow his shit up, did he? He like just exploded his Jeep. It was just too hot. And then like you got up there, and while everybody else was dealing with stuff, like I think Cody, you were spotting him. Just he slowly worked his way through it, and not everybody was paying attention, and it was just like, oh yeah, JB just made that, and Colin exploded his motor and other things, and
bent his leaf springs.
Oh, that's right. Well, those were already gone. He already bent them like 3 times earlier in the day. It was just stupid. The first hit just sentenced those things. As soon as after that, they were just done. Right? They just started bending easier and easier.
Well, yeah, because once you bend them the wrong way, they kind of lose most of their structural integrity.
Yeah, it was weird though. I've never seen a leaf spring bend like that so many times over and over again. It just kept grabbing the leaf right below the main leaf and just jacking it 90 degrees the wrong direction, and it was just fucking everything up on the main leaf and the lower leaves. It was very odd. I've never seen one do that. And like usually, you catch a leaf, if you don't really catch a singular leaf in a leaf pack, you catch the whole leaf pack and it all stays as one. These were so fucking beat to shit, I guess, that like it grabbed one and it just bent it, and it was like, I'm not a part of the pack anymore. We're gonna do our own thing. It was weird. And then he put new leaf springs in it, I think, for Harlan. Yeah, he's got the Devers in it now.
So now, JB, you played anything for Rausch? You plan on doing anything to the rig or any crazy ideas? Did you fix the eyebrows on it or?
No, once I ripped the grill off, I believe I ripped it off finally at Pipeline. I haven't put it back on. I really haven't done. Yeah, I really haven't done much to it except fix the radiator support that broke at Badlands.
That's an interesting one too. I don't know. Have we ever gone into I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast. We've talked about it in our group chats about like what we thought, and I think just in person and over phone calls when we've been talking back and forth about random stuff, or when I'm at the yard.
Yeah.
But I think it would be interesting to talk about why that failed, like, or why we think that failed the way it did. Uh, what did you find on that, and what do you think happened?
So after getting it home and digging into it, I was just looking at the Jeep one night.
Hold on, tell the people what happened.
I was going through, I don't know what trail it was up there, and I came down off a rock, and all of a sudden everyone yelled, "Shut it off!" because radiator fluid was going everywhere. Coolant was going everywhere, and they're like, "Shut it off! Shut it off!" So when we had opened the hood up, we found that the radiator cap had either blown off, but we think that it caught the PSC reservoir and bent off. So the radiator is literally held on by two plastic tabs that it sits into, and then there's two 8 millimeter bolts that go through the top of it. And come to find out, I found this plastic piece, and I was like, where does this go to? And then I found out that it was the passenger side bottom bracket for the radiator. And then my radiator was dropped down and was just kind of flopping in the breeze on the passenger side because there was no bolt in the top of the radiator to hold it up.
So I could probably tell you when that broke. Harris Mountain, when what's her name drove into the tree.
No, so there was never a bolt on that side.
Oh,
Yeah, there was no bolt on that side to hold it up. That's why that broke. So when I came down off that rock, the radiator slammed down and just broke that plastic piece off.
huh. Weird.
Because that radiator support was all new because the headlights actually fit in it. Because if that wasn't replaced, there was no way there would be a headlight on the passenger side because of how caved in that side had been. Whoever messed with it last, they didn't put the bolt back in on that side because the bolt was like gone. So I freaking.
So do you have any plans for this thing? Like, I know that you said you don't have anything, plans to fix it. Was there something that you want to do to quote unquote make it better?
So I think I was going to push and try and do it this winter. I was going to get rid of that motor and tranny just because with the 2012 and newer JKs, they have to have wheel speed sensors in all four tires. So it'll know to shift. And that has been an issue that I've fought since I got it. Because that's why half the time I just crawl around in first gear. Because it doesn't shift. And it sends it into what they call limp mode. So I want to just get rid of that tranny, but there's no point in me just pulling that tranny out to find a different tranny to mount to that motor, so I might as well just change it all while I'm there. So I have inquired an LS.
Oh.
3.
Okay.
Huh?
I said, okay, that's exciting.
So I have inquired that. It's still in the truck. I haven't done anything with it. My plans were to pull it out of the truck shortly. I just don't know if I'm going to put it in for the winter or I'm going to wait until I decide what I'm going to do for a transfer case. Because I don't know if I'm going to go down the old Dana 300 route, just watching everyone else break them.
I wouldn't. I would either do an Atlas, if you can get one, or, I don't know. I know who put in, it was Mike.
Mike's for that midnight metal box.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you had to do a 300, I would do that.
That's what I was looking at, or I was going to look at an Atlas.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like nobody can get an Atlas right now, so if you had to choose something, I'd either go with I guess you don't need as much. I don't know what the crawl ratio on Mike's box is. I totally forget.
I think he was like 5-1.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You probably wouldn't need anything more than that. Just leave it at 5-1 and call it a day. Or you go put a 205 and a Titan box or something in there. Or you put the Atlas in, or keep the Rubicon case if it has one.
It does. It has the Rubicon 4-to-1 case right now.
I think you can adapt one of those, right?
You absolutely can. Yeah.
And you can leave that. I mean, that's not a horrible transfer case to leave in there, and it saves you a bunch of money.
The only
Personally,
retort
yeah.
that I have on that is it depends what transmission you put in. So say you put in a TH400, the cost on that adapter, if I remember right, is like 5 and change, and at that point you're already well into EcoBox territory. So, and it doesn't seem like you're going crazy with the rev limiter, so a EcoBox 205 is not a terrible option, and it gives you more choices. Plus, it's a buggy. Like, if you have to cut the floor, you have to cut the floor. Oh well.
Well, to do this whole project's going to be interesting. Just looking at the underneath of this buggy, there's nothing bolted on, all welded together down there. So it's going to be a project to cut it open
And then put it back together. Yeah.
and then put it all back together. It's going to be a project, and that's kind of like half of what's pushed me away from it. And I kind of want more. And after talking to Chris up in Vermont, he gave me another guy that I've talked to about the wheel speed sensors, and I think we have them figured out. So we'll find out in Rausch.
Nice.
Sounds good.
What do they think is what's been solved, I guess, on that? I don't know anything about wheel speed sensors. I only drive vehicles that don't.
I've taken them all apart, and I've cleaned every one of them. And then in that process, I found 2 different wires that were broken in 2 different spots. And Mike had pulled one of the ABS fuses that essentially goes to the wheel speed sensors. So that was like having a fit in the computer saying they're not existent. I'm not going to shift.
Ah, okay.
So I put that fuse back in. I bought this like $30 scan tool from Amazon that links to my phone. And it's like JBO or something app or whatever. And you can actually go into it and pick up each individual wheel speed sensor to see if they're working and spin them.
That's cool.
I have that. I had a similar scan tool set up. I forget what it was, but I used the Torque app to do basically the same thing.
Yeah, that scan tool has been a saving grace trying to figure that out.
What areas have you taken that buggy to, and what's been your favorite areas to wheel them? I've seen it at Brookridge. I can't remember if last year it didn't go to Rausch, right? You had the
I had the X-ray. That was the last time the X-ray wheeled was at Rausch. So that X-ray hasn't wheeled. My X-ray hasn't wheeled since Rausch last year. Because up until I refused to fix the brake line on it and wheel it. Because I was like, why am I going to fix a brake line on it when I'm just going to pull those axles out? I've had pretty good luck. Granted, I haven't wheeled it, but I've had pretty good luck with the 110s and the factory master cylinder on the XJ.
See,
really?
It's funny you say that. Something about so me and Jacob were putting together Sean's buggy yesterday, and the Dodge master cylinder does not match up with the brake boosters that we have. And I just bought a brand new one for my Jeep because mine's leaking. Brand new booster that came broken, so that's fun.
Were you going to put that in Vermont?
Yeah, and we never did because we started wheeling at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I just haven't had brakes because you don't need brakes. But it doesn't match up. Like I have, and we tested it on my Jeep, and we were playing around with it with the Sean's stuff, which was all on the bench. That push rod isn't long enough for the Dodge master cylinder at all.
Reading into it, you had to change the push rod in them or lengthen.
You shouldn't have to if you get the right one, which is the interesting thing. I don't know if I just started getting the wrong one. Maybe I sort of mixed up the part number. I thought it was like a 98 Dodge Ram van.
01 Dodge Ram van.
Oh,
That's what I've been using.
Okay.
Yeah. That's just weird though, because like mine just plugged and played like it was meant to be there. I had zero issues
I mean,
with
it bolts in, but the
no,
gap
I mean
is
like
insane.
there was no gap. Like when I had the booster disassembled and then I reassembled, or not the booster, I'm sorry, the master cylinder was off and I put it all back in. I think I put like 3 turns on the adjustment rod. And that was all it took to get my pedal exactly where it was, and it sits up against the stop.
Yeah, I don't know, because we're gonna have to change mine and change Sean's probably. So I don't know if I've just started buying the wrong fucking one, or if it's just not as good of a fit as we thought. I don't know, but I didn't really put any thought into it until my brakes are suddenly shit, and now I'm questioning everything about my brake system, and I still don't have time to look at it. So we're gonna fix it on Sean's, and then I'll fix it on mine once I know what the fuck's wrong with it.
Isn't Sean's buggy the older style Cherokee?
It's a giant mess. It's supposed to be, but we're not putting the old style one on or putting the new style on because it had the new style actually, I think, already. So perfect. It was all set up for it to begin with. Yeah, I mean, we're keeping anything good that was on that one. That's the nice thing about having the green one and having disassembled the blue one and still kind of having it sort of on hand is we take whatever's better on the other one. And the blue one didn't have a lot going for it, but it did have the right master that we wanted and some other shit that this current one, the green buggy thing, didn't have for some reason. So we're just taking the best of both and throwing it all together. Trying to save money where we can. You know, we did just spend nearly $1,400 on just fucking Heims.
Oh my god.
Literally just Heims for a 4-link rear, 3-link front.
But then again, that's a lot of fucking Heims, and I know you didn't go with the
It's 14
small
fucking
ones,
Heims.
so that's a lot of Heims, and probably at roughly $100. Yeah, about $80 a Heim. Yeah,
Yep.
that makes fucking
Plus
sense.
hardware,
Holy.
like once you actually add in like nuts and bolts and the adapters and all that shit, it's like $100 a fucking Heim.
Fuck,
bad.
man.
Oh my god.
But usually rough stuff shipping to New England kind of sucks, but I will say I ordered them on Sunday and they were shipped on Monday. So I guess money talks, right? Just order a shitload of junk and they'll ship it fast. I wonder what their biggest order is. It's got to be something insane. They must have people spending shitloads.
Oh yeah, like a shop.
Yeah, there's got to be like
ordering from
10 grand orders going in there some days.
Because when I ordered my traction bar for my X-Ray that's still not on it, it didn't ship for like 3 weeks.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, I'm still waiting on my... I think they actually... Funny enough, I saw a social media post from Iron Man Fab about the leaf spring relocation brackets. I bought one to fix my janky ones that are like caving into the unibody. I'm going to kind of cut it up and modify it to work where I need. But I've been waiting for it for like 2 weeks with no notice on where the hell it is. And I'm a pretty patient person, and I haven't really had I haven't had to put it in, so I'm not really worried about it not being here yet. But, you know, it would have been nice to have it a week ago, right? Just so I could look at it and make sure it's going to work.
Didn't you order another traction bar mount too?
Yes, I did, but I didn't. I ended up ordering that Sunday in a different order from Sean's when I was buying shit because I had forgot to actually purchase that. So I got those. That'll be here soonish. And I don't know. I'm not worried about fixing my Jeep till probably like 2 days before Rausch. So figure it
You're
out
a
then.
fucking mess.
Wonderful.
It'll be.
Oh,
me
I guess
too.
no. It'll be fixed
It'll be
for
fixed.
whatever JB needs it on his trailer. That's what we've been talking about. So
I don't want to play coding Jeeps at midnight on Wednesday.
It'll happen, JB. Get used to it.
No, not midnight. 5 in the morning.
No. 5 in the morning, I'll be sleeping.
No, you won't.
5 in the morning, my X-Ray will be on my trailer with my buggy.
I thought you worked nights. What happened?
No, I've been on days since June.
Oh.
I went to days since June. So that's been a nice relief.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. But back to Luke's question, since we got sidetracked from it, where I've been with the buggy. So I was at Brookridge in the beginning of the year, and then I believe it was Pipeline, which is a pretty cool property. I know Graham's been there. Cody, you should try and go there because it's kind of a cool property.
Okay.
I know Richie doesn't come out of his property there in Connecticut. The hardest property I think I've been and like the most denied I've gotten was at, what is it, Battlegrounds?
Yeah, that was battle. Well, I'm surprised
Where
that
we got-
it would be Battlegrounds was more difficult than Badlands, just because I've been through most of Battlegrounds and didn't think it was that difficult of a property. Oh well, it was mostly just that one ledge that you're referring to, right, JB? Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I got denied there and I got denied in one other spot.
right at the beginning, I remember that.
Right in the beginning, I got denied there because that was the same rock that Luke almost rolled me and Miguel's buggy on.
Right. And on that note, everybody, thank you very much for listening. We appreciate every single one of you. Make sure you guys go check us out on Instagram. Make sure you go check out Go check out John B on what social media platforms?
Facebook is John Bryant and Instagram, I have no clue.
Perfect. Don't go to that at because it's probably somebody else. But make sure you guys go check him out. Go follow him on his builds and on the travels that he's going to be doing here soon. And on that note, make sure you go and enter in the Wheeling for Warriors waffles because it just might be you or
Winning a
you
buggy,
or you.
Or maybe even you.
but
And
not
have a
me
good night.
or Cody. Cody can't win anything. Yeah, night. Bye.